Welcome to the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast with Jen Foster and Melanie Johnson, where authors give you their inside secret tips on how to be a successful best-selling author.
Hi, welcome. We've got a great show for you today. I'm Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster here at the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast. We want to remind you to subscribe to us as well as leave us a review. We would love to hear from you and we'll respond back to you as well. And we want to let you know we are sponsored today by Elite Online Publishing, where they will write, market, and sell your book for you, and they work with you one-on-one. Today we are so honored. We have Peter Remington here with us today. He is the publisher of Houston Modern Luxury Magazine. He is brilliant. He's involved in so many charities, involved in the city, involved in the community. He has written a best-selling book that he's going to tell us all about today, and he's going to teach us some great things about how to become successful in your business and your personal life. So, Peter, we're so glad to have you with us today. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me today, and your introduction was absolutely beautiful. The only correct part of your introduction was there's two hot chicks on the other end.
Well, and you know, you're here because you're a hot guy. We're hot guys, so you're now officially a hot chick.
I'll get in touch with my feminine side. That's cool.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you became a publisher of a magazine and became an author, and started your own company where you consult with other companies.
Well, absolutely. You know, the funny thing is a lot of people in their lifetime, and this includes me, they become successful by fault, not by intent. And I call it just circulating through life that people do. And so my whole career so far has been by default, believe it or not. I mean, I'm very successful at what I've done. I've always been successful at what I've done, and I consider myself a leader more so than anything else. But I was asked to take this job at the publishing company for my leadership abilities. I never dreamt in my life. I would never had it on my top 10 priorities to become a publisher of a magazine. But when they offered me the job, they offered it to me 5 times. And I finally accepted, and it's been the run of my life. It's been a lot of fun, So that's how I became a publisher of a magazine.
Now, what did you tell us about your company where you consult with Fortune 500 companies and help them?
Yeah, that's called Prepare for More is the name of my company, and that is my choice. That's the company I'm most proud of and the successes I'm having there, because about 6 years ago, I was involved in a meditation group, and the meditation was just absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to walk you through the whole. Well, you want me to walk you through the whole thing?
Sure, walk us through. Teach us.
All right. So the meditation group was a guided meditation, and as they talked about it, you have a boat. You take your boat and goes to an island. Get off your boat, and you climb up this mountain, and at the top of the mountain, there's a few obstacles on the way getting there, but on the top of the mountain, there is a temple. And you open up the temple doors. Inside are all your friends and family, and you wave hi and say nice things about one another, and then you go to the back of the room, and you have a backpack on. You go to the back of the room, and you take all those things in your life that you've been carrying, and you take it that you don't want to be carrying, but you're carrying it, and we'll talk about that later on. You take your backpack off, take all those negative things out of your life, put your pack on, and then grab all the people you really want to be around you, walk back down, get on your boat, and sail away happily ever after. That's the guided meditation. And because this is a 30-minute meditation, so it's very short. My meditation, however, is I first of all started off at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco as a cold, gray, cloudy San Francisco day out there by the seals. They are barking in the smell of fish, and there's a big boat there, a 90-foot sailboat that belonged to me, and on the back of it was a dinghy. So I hopped into my dinghy, and I sailed across the San Francisco Bay, going across past Alcatraz, and I landed in Marin. So when I got to Marin, as soon as I touched the ground in Marin, everything became Technicolor, like from the Wizard of Oz type thing, right? So I started climbing up the mountain, and on the way there's this huge boulder that was in my way. And you either go over it, under it, around it, and I just took the boulder and just threw it out of my way, and I got up to the top, to where the temple is. When I got to the top, opened up the doors, and there were all my friends and family, but more importantly, were the people that I've had negative interaction with or have heard or done whatever. And I went and made amends with all those people. Then I walked to the back of the temple where the table was, and there was an angel there to greet me. And so the angel told me to take off my pack and go through these 2 white doors. I go through these 2 white doors, and I'm flooded with light, just absolutely flooded with light. And he said, walk in. So I walked in, and all of a sudden this little hand grabbed onto my hand, and I looked down, and it was me when I was 4 years old. And he looked at me, he said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. He said, well, let's go do this thing. So I turned around, went through the front of the temple, and waved goodbye to everybody. Didn't bring anybody with me. And then I floated down the mountain like a bad Chinese movie, right? So I floated down the mountain, got back in my dinghy, and I sailed off to San Francisco, back into the cold and the gray and the dark. And I realized then my purpose in life was to take the gray and darkness out of people and let them live a technicolor life that they should be living. So that's how I launched Prepare for More.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great gift to give to people to find their technicolor.
Yeah. First of all, it was a great gift that I got through that meditation. That night when I went to bed afterwards, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know if you know this, but at 3 o'clock is when all the great things come to you from the universe, or really the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. And I call it the Holy Spirit, by the way. But great things came. I woke up, and I keep these big Post-it notes in my other room, and I went in there and just started writing all these different things. I was able to write my purpose statement, and then I started thinking about the book, and things were just flowing out of me. I started writing. It really was bullet points, but all those things happened to me that night, and it was a real wonderful thing to have happen.
So was that the start of your book, when you kind of had that epiphany at 3 in the morning?
Yes, it was. So I kind of, like I said, bullet pointed it, and the original title of the book, I now forget. Oh, I know what it was. It was called March 4th, and it was a play on words because it was March 4th that I was doing this. So it was March 4th was what I was going to call the book, and it was MARCHFORTH, right? Marching forth. And that got me jazzed up, and I just started writing a little bit and playing with the keyboard and so forth. And I went up to visit my father, who was ill at the time up in Vermont. I'm here in Houston. I went to visit him, and I told him about the book, and that was in June. And then I went back in October to see him because all the children were hospicing my father, and I hadn't done any more with the book. I mean, I just kind of hit writer's block. And then I told my dad, because I told him to have half the book finished so he could read it before he moved on. And when I got there, I still had nothing to show him. And then 2 weeks later, he moved on. And so I came back to my house, and again at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got struck again. I got up, and I started putting down more bullet points, and I started typing. I started typing and typing and typing. I just couldn't stop typing. And at the end, I had a 14-step process to being successful. And I thought to myself, well, it's kind of like a 12-step program.
Yeah.
I said, so I'm going to call this Be-Aholic, a 14-step process to becoming a Success-Aholic. And when you look up the word aholic in the dictionary, it means to be obsessed with or addicted to a thing or an object. So the whole purpose of this book is, if you're going to be obsessed with anything or aholic with anything, be obsessed with yourself. Be obsessed with your emotions, your goals, your vision, your purpose, everything there is in life to be obsessed with. It should be all about you. Because the airlines say it the best. Put your mask on first and then help the person next to you.
Right.
So if you're not complete, then you can't help the person next to you because you're still not complete. And that's how the book came about.
That's awesome. Did you know you always wanted to be a writer? Like, did you think before in your life that you'd be an author?
This is the 6th book I tried to start. So one was about how to run a marathon without training. One was about skiing. I mean, I've had numerous attempts at books in my life, but I didn't know why I was writing it. So it never came to fruition. I never got past page 1 practically. So, and no, I never, again, just like thinking of ever being a publisher, I never thought I'd be a writer. And so
there was no purpose. You had no big purpose for those other books.
Exactly. And we'll talk about purpose in a second, because a lot of people have a purpose, and we have friends, we all have friends that say, I'm going to do this, right? They say, okay, great, you make it happen, I'm behind you 100%. And they take off and start doing the project they talked about, And then 6 weeks later, you see your friend and you say, well, how's that project going? It's not for me, not really. So I dropped it, right? So they didn't have the right purpose. They didn't have the why behind what they were doing. So it didn't work out for them so many times. And that happened to me all the way up until this meditation process. So when I was still doing and writing the book, I self-published the book, and I was going to quit my job before I became the publisher of Houston Magazine. I was going to quit the job I was at and go out and prepare for more on the road. Well, all of a sudden I got this job offer, and said, "What, for me to be the publisher?" I go, "Wait a minute, this is crazy." I said, by the way, I was about ready to quit you guys, and go do this whole thing. I said, "Well, when did you want me to start?" And they said May 1st. Well, my plan was to quit May 1st, the old job, and then give them a month's notice and launch Prepare for More as a company out to the world. And I didn't do that. I took the job at the Houston Magazine, and I think for myself it was the perfect thing to do. I wasn't ready yet to launch that book. I'm very ready, and I have launched the book already. It's already a #1 bestseller in 3 different categories, and then there's more behind the book than that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love what you're saying, because for someone that's stuck or wanting to get started or has that idea, so for the future authors, it's make sure you have a compelling why. Make
Yes.
sure you know what your outcome is, that's going to propel you forward. So
Yes.
start with the why, maybe, even before you come up with the book. Make sure you have that why.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the idea and you think it's a good idea, that's one thing. It might be a good idea, and we all have great ideas, but it might not be the passion idea that we're looking for. When you use the word purpose, I want to talk about that for a sec. When you use the word purpose, I break things down in acronyms. The P stands for passion, right? Do you have passion about what you're about ready to go into? And I always talk about it, about the passion of the Christ. Christ had a purpose. If you read the Bible, his purpose was to take away the sins of the world. Well, he could have stopped that whole thing, but he laid true to his purpose because of his passion to complete the task he was sent to earth to do. And then the U is understand. Do you understand, which is the why you're doing this? Those are probably the most important 2 letters of purpose. Do you understand the why? And then you have your R, which stands for resolve. Are you resolved? Are you willing to do this through all the way through? I'm going to skip the second P. I'll come back to that. The O is obedient. Are you obedient to all the things that you have to do on a daily basis to get the job done? That's critical. And then you have the S, which is spirituality. Is it woven into the fabric of your being? Does it just get you out of bed and make you want to do things right off the bat? And that's critical. And the E stands for enthusiasm. And when you look at enthusiasm on the Greek terms of it, the EN stands for entheos, which is within. N is within. Theos is God. So is God within you helping this thing work out? The final thing, I go back to the last P, and I stands for protection. Now the protection is all about Psalm 21. The protection is all about, can you protect yourself from the outside distractions? Those people that say, "Oh, Peter, you can't write a book," or you shouldn't be doing this, or hey, let's go have a beer, or let's go, those distractions that keep you off your true purpose. I was so diligent about that. My family didn't know I was writing this book. I didn't tell my family until after I published it. So you have those childhood inputs and those childhood programmings saying, Jen, you're no good. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. Whatever it may be. That's not true. That's their programming in you. It's not your programming in you. So I didn't tell anybody in my family, and actually there's only 3 people that knew I was writing the book.
Wow. That's great. So it was a big surprise for everyone when you became bestseller.
Me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great feat, too, to have 3 categories and #1 on Amazon. That's amazing. So great job.
Thank you very much.
What do you think helped propel that for your marketing?
Well, I have a Effluence Person is the name of his company out of Atlanta, Georgia. We put together a marketing campaign for the book, and we just followed it through step by step by step. And right now he's out talking to ABC and NBC and CBS for me, and getting it into other publications and marketing it for me. And that's the best part. You find somebody who knows how to market a book. It's not someone who knows how to market, but somebody who knows how to market a book and has done it before for numerous people and has a track record.
Yeah.
What do you think out of some of the things that he did, maybe like the top 3 things that you thought worked the best for your particular book that could help somebody else?
Well, the email campaign. Now, I've self-published my book, so I didn't have a publishing company behind me. So it was really, I said, for lack of a better name, it's like the Justin Bieber of books. Justin Bieber launched through social media, right? And
right.
So I like to wind up like that kid. But anyway, is what sort of social media are we going to use? Is it going to be a lot of Facebooking? Is it going to be tweeting or doing whatever? How are we going to get this book launched? So the 3 categories we started with were direct mail, and Facebooking and tweeting it out there, and then also connecting with your friends. You have on my Facebook, I have a lot of people on my Facebook, and I've asked a handful, not all of them, because I just asked a handful of them, though, to messenger this out for me as well. So when everything was said and done, I probably had over 50,000 people knowing about the kickoff of this book.
Right.
And given that you do have an advantage through the magazine. You have, I'm sure, a huge list already of people and emails that you had access to promote the book.
You know what? I didn't touch it. I didn't use the magazine. Yeah. This is. I had to separate church from state. This was Peter Remington. That's modern luxury. So I didn't touch the magazine at all.
That's really impressive, Peter. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. Thank you. So
and it's really smart to go to someone who knows how to market a book instead of just saying, "Oh, I'll do it myself. I'll learn how," because you're good at what you do, which is, publishing at the magazine and, all that. The whole thing you just said about purpose. That's what you're good at, and you don't necessarily might not know how to market a book. But this gentleman, you went to him, and he's doing it for you and doing everything right, which is really important. So very smart.
It is. Find the right contact and having that person help you distribute the book, or like I said, get it on Amazon.com. And and you're right. I mean, I can help a business market their business, but I couldn't tell you how to start marketing a book at all.
Yeah.
Except for what I just learned.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, tell us about your the publishing process a little bit, creating your cover and all the details that went into that. How did you find that process?
Yeah, I learned from mistakes. I fail forward fast, right? So I should have gotten publishing for dummies, but I didn't. But I got in touch with someone who actually had a book published here in Houston, and I said, "Who do you use?" And he gave me the name of the individual. Brian Carr is his name, from Signature Publishing. And I had Brian come in, and we sat down, we met, and I said, "Here's what I want to do." I gave him all my chapters and so forth, and I told him I wanted the cover to what I wanted it to say. I said I really actually wanted it to look like an AA book, right? So we sat down, I gave him my vision, he brought it to his company, sat down at the drawing table, and then all of a sudden he brought back this first rough draft that was absolutely phenomenal, and it was fantastic. So I was just finding a good publisher that has a creative mind to them and has a great graphics design group, and that's what they did. And I went through a couple of different nuances of the book and how I wanted it to look with him, but we finally settled on what we did, and that was it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Again, to the experts, you went to somebody who knew what they were doing, so you had it done right.
Yeah, and it's funny. You just say that. Always go to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Try it by yourself, and you can spend a lot of money doing that. But always go to somebody. You think, "Oh, I don't want to spend that money." Well, you'll spend more time and money trying to do it yourself than you will going to the right individual.
Right. Well, it's like the saying, "Don't reinvent the wheel," right?
Right. Someone's already got it done.
Someone's already done it. Then go learn from what they did, or go have them do it for you, and then you don't have to come up with it, learn all the mistakes and everything that they already learned.
Right. So that's a big plus.
Yeah. That's great.
Tell us a little bit about your about the book.
It's a 14-step process. So, the first process I go for, it's called Be-Aholic, and 14-step process to becoming a Success-Aholic. So the first chapter is called Being a Raceaholic, and being an Raceaholic is also critical with anything you do. What that means is to erase your negative beliefs. Erase those beliefs that were downloaded into you when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up until whatever, you're out of college. because everybody's starting to program you with what they think about you and what you should do. I always tell people, don't should on me. Don't should on me, okay? Don't tell me what I should do. I'll figure it out for myself, but give me some ideas. So the first thing is to erase those negative implants that you got, whether it be from your father, your mother, your church, your coach, your teacher, friends, siblings, whatever it may be, and erase those things. And how do you go about that?
Yeah, how do you do that?
Okay.
How?
Yeah.
You can tell me to do it, but if I don't have the roadmap, right?
No. The way to do that is to get into we all have triggering events, things that kind of ding us and make us go ouch or whatever. We all have those red buttons on our chest that people push, not knowing they're pushing their button because they have a different upbringing. What doesn't hurt them may hurt you. So when that ever happens to you, when you feel that hurt, you go back into yourself and you kind of meditate on when did that happen to you. And you go back to that time. Let's say it was your father that implanted that into your system. You go back to that time through meditation or whatever, and you find your dad and say, hey, one time you told me I would amount to nothing. That's not true. That was your impression. That was maybe your problem with you, but that's not me. That's not who I am. So I'm no longer going to accept that. I give that back to you. It's no longer in my system, and you erase it.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk around, and if somebody says, you're not good at this, you're not good at that, you no longer accept it. And that's part of the process. If someone says, you're not smart enough, well, you know what? Go back to that person, and you say, you know what? That was your issue. People told you you were not smart enough. Don't put that on me because I'm very, very smart, so I'm going to give it back to you. And then, boom, you're set. So it's just finding all those little buttons. Now, will you ever erase all your buttons? No, because there's tons of them, right? Some are so far back in your memory banks they may never ever come up. But the key is that when someone says something negative towards you that used to hurt you, you don't accept it anymore, and you just push it away. So with that, as you go into your purpose of writing or doing whatever you're doing, you will no longer accept somebody saying, oh, you don't know how to be a writer. You're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not this enough. You don't accept those comments anymore because they don't pertain to you. Those are comments that were laid in on you when you're a child.
I like that you replace the negative with the positive. So don't just eliminate that negative, but they're saying, like, if I'm not smart enough, you say, I am smart enough.
I am smart enough. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what I call in the book, too, is called your great I ams, and I'll get into that in a second. So once you've erased all these negative beliefs, then the next thing is become a purpose-aholic. And we discussed what purpose means. So you become a purpose-aholic and you embrace that like there's no tomorrow, and you just work for it, you go through it, and make sure you have the protection. Those negative talks that you would get would be those distractions. Those would be your enemy. Those would be your adversary. But now that you've erased it, you don't have those adversaries. All you do is you're just filled up with this purpose that you have in your life, and you keep on moving forward. So then you go from being a purpose-aholic to a goal-aholic. You set your goals, and then you go to an action-aholic and a believe-aholic, and right on through to becoming a success-aholic. So that's how the book works, all 14 steps. Be a believe-aholic. Have faith. Have faith in everything you're doing. You believe that the seed that you planted is going to manifest. Mm-hmm. And the tough thing about planting seeds is that just like in nature, a seed of grass will grow a lot faster than, let's say, an acorn. So as you plant your individual seeds about what you want to manifest, some things will manifest quicker than others. Mm-hmm. So you have to believe that you're going to do the right thing for each one of your dreams. So if you plant the acorn type dream, believe in it that it's going to take a couple of years for that thing to start working for you. Okay? So nurture it, water it, give it lots of sunshine, wipe the weeds away from it so it can grow, but always have belief that whatever you want to manifest is going to come true. And like I said, some things will manifest quicker than others, but with everything you do, always believe that it's going to happen.
That's great. So you have 14 steps in your book, and do you have a website associated with your book that people can go and check out? Or?
Yeah, it's called prepareformore.com.
Okay.
Prepare, the number 4.com, and you can check out things, and you can also go to Amazon.com and look at the book and go through a couple pages of that if you want to as well. I also connected that up with some daily insights. Every day, Monday through Saturday, I put out daily insights on how to address the day or just how to live your life or whatever. And they're both, I have two types. I have one that's biblically based on the book of Proverbs and some other passages in there, and one that's kind of metaphysically placed. So it kind of covers both areas for people. Keeping it worldwide, I guess, is the best way to call it. But if you're a big believer in the universe, then go to metaphysical. We'll have metaphysical insights there, and if you like the Bible, there's biblically based insights in there too. So
that's great. We'll put the link at the bottom so people can go to that.
All right, thank you.
Do you have a funny story since you've been a published author? Do you have any stories or a funny story that happened to you since you've been an author? Or
let's see. No, it's actually I can't think of one. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Well, you said before that no one knew that you were going to be publishing the book. So what happened when you became the bestseller and your family found out?
They were they were amazed. I mean, they you know, and my sister, God bless her, she's the one who always says, "Well, I knew you could do it." And my older brother would give me jabs and so forth and so on. And I don't think my younger brother even knows yet. So, yeah, how siblings are. But anyway,
you'll have to send him a link to this podcast interview.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you. I think it really wasn't anything funny that happened to me. It's just all these accolades that I was getting, and people saying I didn't know this about you, and it's just time for me to launch Peter Remington and what I want to be in my life and who I am actually in my life. So that was the good part. I have 2 more books. One's being put together right now. It's over at the publisher, and he's lining it all up for me. Same guy, Brian Carr's doing the work for me. So that should be done within the next 2.5 weeks or so. We're meeting this coming Saturday to talk about the layout of the book and so forth, and then right after that will be another book within 2 months after that. So great things have been happening for me as well.
Yeah. Well, look at this. You wrote. You started with 6 books that you couldn't get finished. Now that you completed the one and became an official implementer and using your own 14-step system,
right.
Now you're just on a roll. You've got 2 more coming out. Do you know the name of the next book that we can expect to see?
Well, the first one is called Proverbs, Ancient Wisdom based on ancient wisdom based on today's uses, ancient wisdom based off the book of Proverbs. Boy, that's a lot for me to speak out. But it's called Proverbs, Ancient Wisdom for Today's Uses based on the book of Proverbs. And then the third book is called Prepare for More Insights. So,
terrific. Well, when they are published, we will put them, all 3 of your books we'll have on our website so people can find them.
Well, there's a 4th one not far behind that, which is I've been doing some speeches and talks at Unity Church. I've done some talks over at Lakewood Church. I've talked at businesses and so forth. So I'm taking all those speeches I've been doing and just going to line those up and make them into a book as well so people can refer back to it.
All right, we love that you said that because we are really big at Elite Online Publishing of repurposing your content.
Yes.
Because it's a totally different audience. You've curated all your speeches. Only so many people saw each one, and now everyone will have them all in one place. That's excellent. So that's a great way if you have a website, if you have a newsletter, if you're doing speeches, that you can curate all those things together and make a book out of it.
Absolutely. That's what I thought about that. I'd say this to the viewers as well. Don't think you have to, like you said before, reinvent the wheel. Because, if you read any of these self-help books or self-development books, and I consider Prepare for More a self-development company. And when you go out there and you go to some company as a motivational speaker and you get all fired up, you get all charged up, and you run out of that place, and for 6 weeks you're going, yes, I could do this, I could do this. And then the first person that hits one of those buttons, because you're still carrying around those negative beliefs about yourself, you go right down in the ditch. So all the pep talk goes away. My book is all about self-development and making yourself a better person and then firing yourself up, because you can get motivated through yourself. You don't have to have somebody inject 6 weeks of adrenaline in you and then have it go away. And so if you read, I don't care who it is, if it's Tony Robbins or Earl Nightingale, or I'm getting lost on people right now.
Jim Rohn and Darren Hardy and
Norman.
Well, all these people that come to you, they're great, but if you really read into it, it's the same stuff, just placed in a different way. But they're best-selling authors, they're multimillionaires, all these things. So don't think that you need to reinvent the wheel. Just tell your story on how you were able to grow from whatever you learned. I think is critical there.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's kind of all the same thing, but it's your voice telling it from your perspective with your personal experience. And we also do a thing where we say, tell your story, get your personal narrative, and people relate to that, especially if you've gone through something that's been difficult and you learned from it. That's the best way to share, because it's just like going to different churches. People connect with different ministers. It's the same word, but you connect with different people telling that story.
Very true. Very, very true. It's, you have to remember there's 360 million people in the United States alone, 360 million people. If you got 1% of them, right, you have a 3.6 million base of followers. 1%, right? That's 3.6 million. If you get 1/10 of 1%, you're still at 360,000 people. That's not a bad following. So don't think there's a oh my goodness, there's a commercial on TV right now where this woman buys a miniature pony and puts her out in the pasture. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's an Amazon commercial, right?
It is, right? Yes, it's an Amazon commercial, and all the horses are there, and they're like, get away, kid, you're bothering me, type deal. The pony's head is down. But the lady brings the pony into her house, and now he's happy because she will communicate with the pony.
Right.
What was the other one? There's a music video, too, of this girl that was dressed up like a bumblebee. And she's bouncing around as a bumblebee, and she'd go to play with these people over here. They go, get away, you're a bumblebee. And another group said, get away, you're a bumblebee. Then she's walking out her town, and her wings are down. She's very depressed. And up on the hill, she sees a bunch of bumblebees playing. So she goes flying over to those bumblebees, and everybody's happy. So the point of that message is that there is a following. There is a group. Everybody has a group. Everybody can relate to your story one way or another. So, again, just write your story and how you overcame, or even, I wouldn't be able to tell you how to write a romance novel or anything like that, but I can tell you how to write a self-development book.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. You gave us tons of great information, inspired us, and I'm sure we inspired you out there to buy Peter's book, to learn the 14-step system, to help you become successful and achieve your goals. So thank you so much, Peter, for joining us today. We're going to list your book on our site, and so people can get it, and we'll put it on all our social media as well so they can find it.
May I leave you one more tip?
Yes.
Okay. The one more tip is, and we talked about a wheel before, the one more tip is that a wheel will spin with 3 spokes, a wheel will spin with 4 spokes, some will spin with 6, 8, 10. A bicycle wheel has like 88 spokes to it. Well, I look at a wheel, that the hub of the wheel is you. And the tire around that hub is all the knowledge available to you. And some people have 3 streams of knowledge going into them. Some people have 4, some people have 6. Some people could be like a bicycle and have 88 streams of knowledge coming into them. My goal is to become a solid rim. So everything that's out there is just flowing right into me. So my last message to everybody would be, never stop learning, never stop accepting, never give up, and just live the life you were meant to live, not the life you were told to live. That's it.
That's wonderful, and that's a great start for our January podcast to go into the new year. So,
well, Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Again, thanks for joining us today at the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast, where we have hot chicks and hot guys, and we think everybody has a hot chick inside of them. So, We're sponsored again by Elite Online Publishing, and where they will help you write, publish, and market your book, as well as book writing retreats. If you'd like to join us down in the Dominican Republic at a fabulous villa and spend the week with us, we will help you get your book written, marketed, and published. So thank you for joining us again. Have a great day. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, and please leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Peter.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
For more information, visit hotchickswritehotbooks.com.